Good morning and welcome to this week's IGTV. Today I'm talking about your teen always playing the victim. Nothing is ever their fault. They never take responsibility for anything, and worse yet, they blame you or everyone else for everything in their life that isn't going the way they want. And as a parent, you're like, yeah, look, I get things aren't going the way you want, but you're trying to raise a responsible, confident human, and they just refuse to take responsibility for anything. So you're kind of wondering, like, what's going on here? Like, what do you've tried tough love, soft love, everything in between. No, they are not moving forward. In fact, they're shrinking away from everything in their life just out of fear, because they will not take responsibility for anything, and everything is always someone else's fault. And I'm going to share with you how this might have you hooked, and how your efforts to turn this around and model responsible, accountable behavior might actually be making things worse. Okay, so stick with me. My name is Allie Payne. I'm a certified life coach, certified relationship systems coach. I have been working specifically with parents of teens for the last 18 years to build lasting relationships based on mutual respect and trust, to raise respectful, confident human beings without all of the emotional disconnection, the painful disconnection, the baffling blow-ups, the stressful silences, and actually, like I said, enjoy your connected relationship now and into adulthood, and not by being their bestie. No, that's not the game I'm playing. So welcome. Thanks for joining me. Okay, I have a few notes here. So this is based on a conversation that I had with a parent a couple weeks ago, and I thought, dang, this happens a lot. So I want to share the story with you. I want to talk about it, and hopefully you can get some tips out of this. And I've got something else to share at the end. Once I get this posted, if you type challenge in the comments, I actually have a program starting Monday where you're going to get all of my proven tips and tools that you won't find anywhere else on how to help turn this around. So first, let's dive into the story. Now, this young man happens to be, I think he's like 15, 16, but he happens to have ADHD. Okay. That's not necessarily the only part of this story. So just because your teen is like blaming you for everything and isn't like literally is refusing to take accountability or responsibility for anything in their life doesn't mean they have ADHD. Just in this particular example, okay? So a couple caveats. The teen brain really takes a dive in confidence, up to 30% actually. For girls, it's around 14. For boys, it's around 15, 16. And that is a unfortunate byproduct of their massive brain development in adulthood, going from a child to an adult brain, which they don't have yet, by the way. That takes like decades. 15 years-ish. And in that process, their confidence goes way down. It is because simply their brain is actually erasing their simplistic identity that they had as a child, meaning everything they liked about themselves, and probably you liked about them too. Yep, it's erasing that because that's fun. And it's creating a more complex sense of identity that is required for self-reflection, which is the marker of a mature adult brain. So, anybody who has their identity just like erased and rewritten, yeah, it might be a little bit of an issue with confidence. Yeah. So confidence is normally low in teenagers, okay? I personally experience teenagers being more anxious and less confident than ever right now, like more afraid of the world than ever. So it's another reason I wanted to talk about this and bring it more to light. Now, this young man, he's been through a really rough go, okay? Like a really rough go. He has ADHD. He happens to be unmedicated, kind of unbalanced brain. He refuses any support of any kind. He really, really struggles in school, which is really unfortunate for the ADHD brain, because I have ADHD. and we have troubles concentrating, and let alone completing work, not because of a lack of intelligence. It's just the executive function in an ADHD brain, the way that information is taken in and the way it's processed is very different. So a lot of challenges in school can show up. Now, again, this might not be that your child has ADHD. So this young man has very, very, very low confidence. Very low. Okay? Maybe your teen has this as well. This amazing mom is doing everything she can to help her teen just pass. Like, just get through, not doing his homework for him, but just get through so that he can be done in school, an environment that is not set up for his brain, and go do more of what he loves, which is he really loves trades, he loves welding, he loves a lot of manufacturing kind of hands-on stuff. But it means he's going to have to pass school if he's going to get into, programs where he can learn more of what he wants to learn. So this teen is like every single thing that happens, from laundry to getting up in the morning for school on time. Oh, thank you, AI, for the balloons. To grades, teachers, friends, family, chores around the house, consequences from his choices. He's a victim to all of it. Victim mentality. Now, a victim mentality, by definition, is that you refuse to take any ownership of a result, usually a result you don't like. You refuse to take any ownership of a result, and by refusing to take ownership of the result, need to blame that result on someone else. Now, the benefit of blaming somebody else for the result you don't like is that other person that you're blaming is now somehow responsible for the solution. Convenient, right? It's a convenient out. Now, I want to be real clear right now. There's nothing wrong necessarily with being a victim. We all have results in our life that just feel really hard to be with, like failing exams, when you did study and you did try hard. As a parent, your teenager's doing all the things that are not what you raised them to be. It's hard sometimes to be with that result. And our normal emotional resistance to seeing or being with a result we don't want, we don't like, challenges what we think about ourselves, we go into victim. And that's okay. Like, whatever. It's okay to be in victim and just know you're there. Fine. What happens in victim, though, is the backside of victim is then blame, is requiring someone else to take responsibility for your result and also be responsible for fixing it somehow, right? So this is victim mentality that I'm talking about with teenagers. And I also want to say, so that's victim mentality. The same accountability and responsibility that you as an amazing parent are wanting to teach your teenager is actually a concept. Accountability and responsibility require extremely high levels of courage, self-confidence. Oh, thank you, AI. Courage, self-confidence, and resilience. Because in order to be accountable and responsible and own my result, I need to know that that result does not define me as a person. It does not define my value as a human being. And this is where our generation of parents has gotten off the rails, because we are so invested in your child's performance and their grades and how they do on the team and the friends they have and the parties they attend and all the things and how they externally perform, that as a parent, when you consequence your child for not performing, what they are learning is that their external results do define their character. And when their external results fall short of your expectations or even their expectations of themselves, they are punished and feel shamed, which reduces confidence, which lowers their propensity to have courage and self-confidence to take accountability and responsibility. So do you see how this loop all goes around? So there's more to this than this. I'm going to get to it. And I'm not shaming or blaming any parents here. You know, you're watching and you are doing your very best and you're doing what you and I were taught. You and I got grounded if we didn't get good grades. You and I got grounded if we got caught skipping a class or didn't hand in assignments. That was parenting of the era. Was only focus on the outcome, the behavior, and then punish or reward the outcome, the performance. So if you're like me and you were raised in that era, you might be doing the same thing with your own child. So they're struggling in school, they're skipping school, maybe they're using substances, they have really low confidence, they're refusing to take it back. It's just like, what the heck is happening? And so you might believe, because of what you were taught, your go-to is you need more consequences, stiffer consequences. Of course, first thing out of the gate, take their phone and take all their tech. No more phone, no gaming. That's enough out of that. Then grounding, removing privileges of car, social privileges, sporting or activity privileges, because they need to understand this is not okay. That's not how we roll in this house. You will not get F's and D's and F's, and think I'm okay with that. So by not wanting to condone failing or falling below a certain performance level, you are instilling consequences of some kind in order for them to understand that is not okay. I get it. I totally get it. Unfortunately, what is happening is your teenager is learning that their relationship with you is very tenuous and it is at risk when they do not perform or earn the external results that you feel okay with, fall within your comfort zone. And when they don't, your love is removed. They feel shame and criticism and judgment. And what all you're trying to do is raise a good human. And they are learning that it's unsafe to not perform. Their relationship with you is based on how they perform in the world, external results. And it also, what they're learning is that their value as a human being is equivalent to letters on a report card, percentages on a test, number of goals, number of friends, number of parties, number of nights going to bed early. Like, they're just tying their entire self-worth to external performance. So this is problem number one. Now, again, I get this. This is how we were raised. However, we have like decades of research showing that in fact does increase anxiety, lowers confidence, and what you're trying to do is get your teenager to take accountability and responsibility for their results and stand up and maybe like get even close to fulfilling their potential, but you're actually getting the opposite result. Okay, so this is even more interesting when it gets to where your teen, their confidence falls so low. And I know this, I was this teen. I went from like award-winning athlete and academic student straight A's to failing out in F's. And again, I do have ADHD, but it was not diagnosed at the time. And so I understand personally what it's like to have such enormously low confidence that I couldn't be with any of it. So I just avoided life, school as well, just stopped showing up to everything. Attempted to take my own life as well, because I had no value. I had no value. I was unlovable and I had no value because I couldn't perform at school because they didn't know I had ADHD, and all of a sudden, like, I couldn't process anymore that highest level of education and advanced classes. And so I had no value to anybody. I was unlovable. And all I got was more criticism, judgment, punishment, consequences, because my parents were trying their best to get me to stand up. But they didn't realize that. So when confidence goes this low, here's what is going on now that I'm seeing a lot. As a parent, and this is what this gorgeous mom is doing her best with, she's not calling the school all the time. Aw, thank you, Southpaw. She is not calling the school all the time. She's not doing homework for her son. But she is trying to just do little bits to help him just pass, like just get through so that he can be done with school. Okay? So, when the school calls her, she does not call the school first. When the school calls her, and she does not monitor grades, she doesn't monitor assignments, no, which I don't recommend either. When she gets a call from the school, she finds out, okay, well, how many assignments has he missed? She finds out that information, and then she's been trying to support him and say, okay, so just got a call from the school. I hear that you're like 4 assignments behind in math again. So I will make myself available to help at these times. Or, calling the vice principal to see like what other kind of support. And these are all amazing things, right? Like as a parent, of course, you want to do what you can to support your child, but you're not going to do it for your child. Okay. So what is ending up happening is because she has made some contact at the school when they contact her, she only reaches out when they reach out first, okay? And tried to like get his courses so that we can get him in like the lowest required math, social studies, English, the stuff that he has such a hard time with, and the most like shop classes. So she's doing her best in that way. Not doing homework for him, not monitoring grades, nothing. But his confidence has gone so low now that he blames her for everything. And this is the backside, sometimes, of wanting to support your teenager and trying to work with what they have without shaming them, without blaming them, is taking steps that now when he doesn't like his shop classes, he's 16. When he doesn't like his shop classes, or he's late, or he's not handing in assignments, he's blaming her because she helped get his timetable that way. When anything doesn't work, he's blaming her. And what is this beautiful mama doing? She's thinking, okay, well, I'm going to model accountability and responsibility. I'm not going to get into conflict. I'm not going to emotionally react to him. I will not get hooked. Awesome. So he tries coming at her with, oh, you name it, is her fault. For, being involved in school or talking to her the teacher, which they called her, and so she's modeling accountability and responsibility, thinking I'm going to model what it is I want to see from my teenager. So she's like, yes, I did do that. I did talk to your teacher because they called me, and I did, find out how many assignments you're behind, and I asked them what was the basic for you to get through, because we know this isn't like your fave topic. So here she is modeling what she wants to see from him, but because she's modeling it first, she's quick to jump in, thinking by taking accountability and responsibility for her part, She's not taking accountability or responsibility for him not showing up, not doing the assignments, and she's not taking, but she is taking accountability and responsibility for what she has done, because she jumps in thinking that by doing that first, she will calm the conflict. He believes every time he brings something up to her and comes at her from a perspective of blame, that she will take responsibility for it. Now, if that's not a slap in the face from an amazing parent who literally is like doing everything she can to empower her son, not disable him, empower him to stand up, make choices, not rescue him from his choices, by believing that by not reacting to his attacks and taking accountability and responsibility for only her part first, she will calm the conflict. She is teaching him inadvertently, unconsciously. We had this conversation, by the way. She's teaching him that he can come at her and she will take responsibility for things. Because all he hears is she's willing to take responsibility. He's not mature enough to see she's only taking responsibility for her part. He's getting that she's taking responsibility for the whole thing. So here's what I said to her. And this only happens, all teenagers blame, they all go into victim because their self-confidence naturally is very low. So their propensity to go to victim and blame is very high. Okay? She now doesn't take responsibility or accountability for her role first. She doesn't jump in and model that as a way of trying to model what she wants from him or calm the conflict. She doesn't jump in quickly, but what she's saying is instead, I am only involved in the school when they call me. My involvement is like, I don't call them. So, if you don't want me to be involved in the school, then you choose. Like, you choose how you participate at school. If you do your assignments and you show up, then I don't get calls and then I don't participate, right? So what she's saying to him is trying to what I've asked her to do is to consistently reiterate where he is at choice. Because he's literally refusing to see any of this, his role in any of it. Everything is everyone else's fault. It's all like, it's gone down that far of a path. That she's consistently reiterating to him, he's at choice. He is empowered. Now, this is called agency, and this is what the teen brain fiercely fights for, is autonomy, to be their own person with their own beliefs and values different from you, and agency, that they are at choice, like the Mark Twain, the captain of their soul. They are in charge of their own destiny, okay? They want that as much as they're afraid of it, because based on generations of parenting, school is a negative reinforcement system, so it continually feeds this. They believe that their worth and value as a human is tied to their external results. So if they fail an exam or they get a grade that they don't like, that they are a piece of crap. Like, personally, they're a piece of crap. So that's a whole other conversation with research around hopelessness and detaching external results from personal value. Why your teenager's afraid to fail. That's a separate thing. Once they're going down this path so far that their confidence is so low, they actually have learned helplessness. Now, learned helplessness is partly where this young man is. And this is the crappy part for her, this amazing mom, is that he's learning helplessness by her just doing the things that she's done to try and help him. And that is sucky. That like sucks so bad because she hasn't been hugely overstepping. She hasn't been controlling. She hasn't, she's trying to just do the basics and not rescue him, from the results of his choices, and then remain detached from the results and saying like, look, buddy, I love you either way. Like I can't, I can't change the result. I love you. I'm here to support you. If this is the job that you want, then I'm happy to support you, but I can't like change your grades. So, she's not rescuing him from that. So, low confidence creates high anxiety, a much greater propensity to blame, and a very low likelihood that your teenager is going to take accountability and responsibility. And I'm going to say this one more time. Accountability and responsibility are concepts in the brain that actually trigger your fight or flight response because they take so much courage to take ownership of a result that you have been taught as a teenager or even as a parent defines your value, even in a moment. You're a piece of crap just for even right now. I don't love you enough. I don't love you the same for right now. So it's no wonder that teenagers are not wanting to take accountability and responsibility because we're raising them in an environment, performance-based environment, where they believe that result indicates their value to you and in the world. Okay? So we need to stop that. Now, here's what I told this mama too, as far as building his confidence, which is key for resilience, which is required for accountability and responsibility. If you want your kid to be accountable and responsible, first of all, I understand you want to model it for them, but when they've gotten down really low that they're feeling helpless and helplessness, is remind them the places they're at choice. And make them tiny, like almost non-consequential, so it's not really terrifying. They're not so afraid of taking the risk of the result that they just don't risk. Okay? So where do they have choice? Right? When they're coming at you and trying to blame you for everything, please don't react. Don't get hooked by that, okay? It's not personal. They're in their own fear. Their brain is literally triggered in fight or flight. That's their process, okay? So when they're coming at you and trying to blame you for stuff, you can, number one, you can empathize with them not, oh, that sucks that happened, right? Like that, yeah, that's really crappy, that the result that happened isn't what they wanted, because what they're doing is trying to push it away, because it's hard to be with. Whether their friends don't like them, they didn't make the team, they didn't score the goal, they didn't like whatever it is. You can empathize with that, which helps them to emotionally regulate. And then, even before you model accountability and responsibility, because when they're super low, they think you are taking ownership for their result. So don't be so eager to model it in your relationship with them. You could model it in your life, and you can use your words to model accountability and responsibility in your life around them, and being like, yeah, like I got I got some feedback in my job performance review today, and it was really hard to hear. I didn't love it. And I just need to be with it for a little bit in the muck. And then, before I can be willing to hear or see how to make things different, or, this happened, that sucks. Are you blaming other people for your results? Like if you're late to work because you hit all the red lights, are you blaming the red lights for the fact that you were late to work? Or do you take accountability and responsibility for the fact that maybe you needed to leave 5 minutes early? Right? These are tiny, tiny little subtle ways. Are you modeling blame, victim and blame in your relationship to the world around your teenager? And how could you model owning your result even when you don't like it, that you were late for work, maybe you were late for a meeting because you hit all the red lights and you were grumpy about it. And then also saying, you know, dang it, I knew I needed to leave 5 minutes earlier and I didn't. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get better at that tomorrow or something. Do you model not liking your result and taking ownership and being accountable and responsible for it? Do you model that? Or do you model little subtle leakages of blame in the results that you don't like? Okay. So with your teen, be careful about this double-edged sword of how often you are willing to take accountability and responsibility in your relationship with them. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying don't jump in and do it first all the time as a means of attempting to calm the conflict. Don't do that, because your teenager is learning subtly that you're just willing to take responsibility for everything they don't like. Even though that's not what you're doing, that's what their immature brain is getting. Okay? So first, just let them be upset. Yeah, you know, I get that you want to blame, you know, when you don't like what happens. I do that too sometimes. You know, you want to empathize with them. Let them sit in it. Not because you're criticizing or judging them, because you're human and you get that, like, sometimes crap happens in the world and it's hard to be with, you know? And then you can say, you know, you don't want to go to solution either. Please don't fix your kid. You're not like, well, what could you do differently next time? Don't jump to that. Please don't do that. Okay? When their confidence is really low, they are not ready for you to come in with your pen and pencil and help them brainstorm what they could do differently next time. You're going to get, or one of these. You pick. Okay? They're not there yet. That's fixing. I need you to help them just sit in the muck of the discomfort of a result they don't like. Instead of trying to force accountability and responsibility down their throat, let them just be in it. Don't fix it. Just be in it. Because why? Because this is actually how creativity, innovation, problem solving, creative thinking, now after they've been allowed to sit in that and then regulate from that experience, is actually what enables their executive function to now start thinking of a solution or how they might do something differently. That is their process. They get to that on their own. When you come in trying to provide a solution or help them think of a solution because, number one, you're uncomfortable with the fact that they're uncomfortable. You don't want to see them struggle. You are trying to deflect the fact they're blaming you. So you're all these reasons you're running in to help them come up with a solution. It actually disables their executive function from getting there themselves. And they're going to push back on your amazing, loving support because they're not ready. So the last thing, again, I want to, is, okay, so once you've done that, I want you to think of all the places in their life where they are at choice. So little things that you can do, like instead of assuming something, maybe, not every case, you can give them choice A or B. Not like choose anything and you're there catering to all, or like to all of their needs. No. But maybe every situation that's possible that you can allow them choice A or B or a choice. And if they say, I don't know, then fine. At least you asked. Okay. And you can be like, okay, it's fine if you don't know. I'm going to go with A for now. And if you change your mind, let me know. But at least you weren't attached and you reminded them they have choice. Reminding them they have choice, and then when they make a choice, I don't care how small, you remind them that was like, wow. You don't say that was a good choice. We are not labeling. Do not label choices, please, with your interpretation of them. Right? If they make a choice and they're happy about it, you could be like, oh, how'd that feel? Right? Or sounds like you listened to, you spoke up for what you wanted, or you created something that worked for you. Just little simple comments that remind them that they are empowered, they do have agency, they do have choice, and building their confidence and courage when they do make a choice they're willing to own is the only way to also build their confidence and courage to slowly begin to take ownership of the results they created they don't like, not by forcing it down their throats. That guarantees they will never do it. Okay? You can model accountability and vulnerability. And I want you to be accountable and responsible in your relationship with your teenager. When it's due, absolutely. And be willing to apologize if necessary. Okay? Not because you weren't perfect, but just if necessary. I'm just saying, don't jump in so fast because you're trying to model it or you're trying to calm the conflict. We want your teenager to sit in uncomfortable feelings. We want them to know it's okay to not like the results they create, to know that you are not going to run in and rescue them, and that you believe that, as science can prove, when they are allowed to struggle and not enjoy their result, but be loved in their process and their pain, their brain does in fact kick in to problem solving and how they could do it differently next time, which if you see them make a different choice next time, even a subtle shift, acknowledge that. Hey, I noticed you did this different, or, you got your assignment in on time, or good for you. I don't care how small it is. Affirm that stuff. Affirm it. That's what builds their confidence and courage back up, which is required for resilience, which is required for what is called hopefulness. So they continue to try outside, knowing that their external performance results do not define their value as a human being, and their relationship with you is not at risk, because they need that for survival. So if it feels at risk, I got a little secret for you. They're not going to go try harder to not risk it. Because if they're already getting consequenced, punished, or feeling criticized and shamed, they're just going to stop trying because the risk is too high. I see it all the time, every day, and I did it myself as a teen. Apathy is a coping strategy. Your teenager has never stopped caring. Not once. The problem is their brain is too immature to know how to ask for what they want and what they need. And they are in survival. So not trying is the only way to not risk anything further when their confidence has gotten down to where they have 3 grains of sand left on their beach. It needs to be shut down, locked down, and protected to stay alive, which means they will just stop trying everything. So if your teenager is playing the victim in everything, which again is normal at some phases because of a low confidence, and you want some simple proven tools, I want you to, after I get this posted, I want you to type challenge in the comments, and I'll send you the link. I'm running my 5-day challenge next week, 5 days to a better relationship with your teen, starts on Monday. And I'm going to be sharing my top proven tips, a training video, and a downloadable worksheet every single day for 5 days, but you get access to it for like a whole month, so don't worry. And you will not find this content anywhere else. It's nowhere else on social media. I don't share it anywhere else. It's only in this program, and it's $25. So you're going to leave there with specific tools to begin this process in an amazing, safe, non-judgmental community, guaranteed, that will begin to shift this confidence of your teen and lower your frustration with their constant victim blaming and lack of responsibility and accountability in their life. So I want you to join me Monday. Type challenge in the comments as soon as I get this posted, and I will see you in 5 days to a better relationship with your teen starting on Monday. Bye, everybody. I'll see you next week.